walkthrough for the Mexican food fantasy problem. Now, this problem was a production mix problem. It talks about the fact that you have a certain amount of ingredients, and then you have certain ingredients that go into making each product, and you have to figure out the optimal mix of packaging. So this particular business makes 4 entrees. It makes burritos, quesadillas, tacos, and fajitas. And it makes them all from the same 5 ingredients in different portions and cooked slightly differently. Chicken, cheese, rice, beans, and tortillas. Now, so basically you need to figure out, given the amount of profit that you make on each item, which was given in the case, how do you go about figuring out the optimal mix? So this part of the chart right here was given to you in the case. And I added beneath here a line of the capacity, the amount of each good that you found in the refrigerator. 300 ounces, 300 ounces, 200 ounces, 180 ounces. And this was a little tricky, 240. There was 20 packs of 12, I'm sorry, there was 20 packs of 12 tortillas, which means that there is 240 tortillas. So that was a little stumbling block for some people. So the decision, since the decision is the mix, the decision is how many burritos, how many quesadillas, how many tacos, and how many fajitas to make. Once you do that, you need to set up equations to show your usage of your materials. Again, the materials are chicken, cheese, rice, beans, and tortillas. And the equation is simply the number of burritos times the amount of chicken per burrito, the number of quesadillas times the amount of chicken per quesadilla, and so on. Add all of those together, we end up with our chicken used. Same thing for cheese, beans, rice, and tortillas. So it's simply a matter of saying the total amount of cheese is equal to the number of burritos times the amount of cheese per burrito, the number plus the number of quesadillas times the amount of cheese per quesadilla, and so on. And later we will use solver, and these will be some of our primary constraints. Also, we have the idea of profit. So how much profit do you make on each burrito? It's $1.50, as it says in the case. So the burrito profit is the number of burritos times the profit per burrito. The quesadilla profit is equal to the number of quesadillas times the profit per quesadilla. And it didn't have to be broken out separately here. It could have been one long equation, but if you broke it out separately, that's fine. Giving us a total profit, once you add all of those together, of 185 for this particular product mix. Now that we've built the model, so we have our 2 key ingredients. We have our usage and we have our profit. Now we're going to optimize it. So we're going to go to solver, and as you can see, my objective is my total profit. My changing cells are B1 through B4, my amounts. I have a number of constraints. First off, B1 through B4 all have to be integer, and B1 through B4 all have to be greater than or equal to 0, because you can't make a negative amount of a good. Also, as you can see, when you look at B10 being less than H8, B11 being less than I8, I went through and made constraints so that the amount of chicken used was less than the maximum amount of chicken I have. The amount of cheese used is equal to less than the amount of total cheese that I have, and so on down the list. Okay? And when I hit solve, solver comes back with a total profit of $185, which is produced by making 44 quesadillas, 24 fajitas, 0 tacos, and 8 burritos. Now, it's possible to have gotten this mix with other configurations, but this is solver's answer for this particular iteration of the problem. Bob's Hot Dog Stand. Bob wants to open a hot dog stand in the greatest city in the world, Silver Spring, Maryland. He does a survey of Washington area hot dog stands and gathers the data in Exhibit 1, which is what we see before us. He knows he wants to price his hot dog in the same range as everyone else, neither higher nor lower than the pack, but he isn't sure what would be the exact right price for his hot dog. Okay, first off, when we look at this data, we want to know what the range is for the other hot dog stands. Now we can eyeball it and go through the list, or we can use the max and min equation. So min tells us that the lowest price in this column is 1, and if we say max instead, we see that the high is $2.50. That's my little shortcut. Now, as far as the regression is concerned, part of the reason why Bob wants to know what other people are charging is because he wants to know how price affects quantity. Now, there's other things that affect quantity, assuredly. How clean and how large your hot dog stand probably helps attract people. And your location. Good neighborhoods, places with lots of foot traffic probably sell a lot more hot dogs than places that don't. But let's do a down and dirty regression, see what kind of R-squared we get, and just improve it if that ends up not being good enough. So I'm going to go to Data. Oops, not Solver. Data Analysis, Regression. And as you can see, I've set it up so that my output is my sales quantity, and my input, my X range is my price. And I checked labels because I included the top row. So here for my first regression, you can see that my R-squared is 80%, which is sufficient. It's higher than 70. And my p-values are both extraordinarily low. So this is an equation that I can work with. And because we said that sales quantity was our Y, what our equation will look like is sales quantity equals negative 88.94 price plus 294.87 is my equation. Now another way to put that would be, you could also have it listed as 294.87 minus 88.94 price. Either way, it's the same equation. So now I can go to my model. And my sales quantity is an equation, 294.87 minus 88.94 times the price of my hot dog, which is here. And hot dog is the one decision in this model. Now, as far as the data from the case, it talked about the fact that his hot dog is a ballpark frank, which comes from a pack of 10. His bun is a ballpark bun that comes from a pack of 8. That he puts condiments on it, and that he serves pretty much every hot dog that is sold. There's also a bag of chips that is sold and a canned soda that is sold. So let's work this out. Our pack of franks and our number of franks, when you divide those, you get the unit cost of one hot dog, which is the cost of the pack divided by the number of franks that are in the pack. And the same thing for the bun. The unit cost of the bun is equal to the cost of the pack of buns divided by the number of buns in the pack. Okay? There's our condiments, which were stated explicitly in the case. A cost of a pack of chips. A unit cost of chips is equal to the cost of a pack of chips divided by the number of bags in the pack. And the same thing for sodas. The cost of the pack divided by the number of cans in the pack gives us the unit cost of one can. And finally, we see that he charges 50 cents for the bag of chips and $1 for the soda. So now that we have our equation for quantity, we can figure out what our revenue is. And our revenue is the price of the hot dog plus the price of the chips and the price of the sodas times the quantity. Our cost of goods sold is the unit cost of the hot dog plus the unit cost of the bun plus the condiments plus the unit cost of a bag of chips plus the unit costs of a soda. This is really important here, times the sales quantity, which is where a lot of people had problems with this one. And then finally, our gross margin, it's kind of our stand-in for profit because we don't know anything else about this model. Our gross margin is equal to our revenue minus our cost of goods sold. Now, to optimize our model, what we can say is we can go to Data, Solver, and we can say that our objective is our gross margin. What we're changing is the price of a hot dog, and we're saying subject to the constraints that each hot dog is at least $1 and no more than $2.50, which is what we got when we did the max and the min on the data. And then when we run Solver, we can see that the optimal case is $1.66, which gives us a gross margin of $242 for Bob.